Wow, Boba Fett? Darth Vader? These are some really cool Star Wars brickheads, Max Brickman. But Max Brickman, isn't there another type of sci-fi brickhead we could have? I wonder.
Space. The final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Its continuing mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, and to boldly go where no one has gone before.
Well, here they are, my Star Trek The Next Generation Brickheads. This is a project I have been working on for over a year now. I bought that Make Your Own Brickheads kit. I happened to be watching Star Trek The Next Generation, and I made a little Lieutenant Worf. And my girlfriend made Captain Jean-Luc Picard. Here's a picture of them back then. Yeah, they look nice. But it had always been my intention to create the entire crew, but I didn't have enough bricks, and I got really hung up on Dr. Crusher's outfit. I gave up. I set the project aside, and the other day, I had an epiphany. Cracked open the collection with the intention of building one or two more, and I went a little crazy and made 7. Almost the entire crew. The key component of the Star Trek Brickhead is right here. To get that iconic swoop of the cloth on the front of the jumpsuit uniform that they all wear, you have to use an upside down slope 3x1 brick and a right side up slope 3x1 brick. And there's a bit of a gap in there, but I think it's fine. So once that was figured out, it was just a matter of reproducing it for all the brickheads. This was a particular challenge because they don't make the 3x1 upside down slope piece in this color. But I realized, why not just do a 2x1? It's mostly hidden by the lab coat and no one will notice. And that was the solution to that. Star Trek The Next Generation took the incredibly cheesy original version of Star Trek and turned it into a more serious TV show.
Villains who twirl their mustaches are easy to spot. Those who clothe themselves in good deeds are well camouflaged.
Star Trek The Next Generation was a serious look at what humans' future could be if we work together as one. Right now, Star Trek Next Generation is available on Netflix, but depending on when you're watching this, it might not be. But it'll probably be on, like, I don't know, CBS, all hands on deck or whatever, but definitely check it out. All right, we're just going to go quickly one by one through all of these different brickheads, and I'll kind of talk a little bit about how I designed them, what the vision was, what I was trying to go for, you know, that old chestnut. All right, so I will start with the first one I made, which is Lieutenant Worf. So Lieutenant Worf is a Klingon. He serves in the Federation, which is the human thing, but the Klingons used to be the enemies of the humans, but now we're sort of tentative allies, and this guy was exiled from his people, so he joined the Federation, and his people kind of hate him, but he's also really cool. That's this guy's story. I made his crazy forehead out of 2x1 jumpers. Got his mustache on there. This is Ponytail Worf. Earlier on, he has a sort of strange bob, so I went for this one. I think my favorite part about it is the use of this chain to make his metal sash. Next up is Captain Jean-Luc Picard, the captain of the Enterprise, played by Sir Patrick Stewart. He's a little bit different from the original version that my girlfriend made. For example, he has the classic Brickhead eyes. I also put badges on everybody. It's not exactly the Star Trek badge, but it's as close as it can get. I also tried to make his head, like, pointy, because Patrick Stewart has this, like, sort of distinctive pointed head. It looks a little weird, but I'm sticking with it. I'm committing to this decision. Next up is Commander William Riker, who was supposed to be the, like, sexy hunk on the TV show. I don't know. I don't really like him. He's like a misogynist, and it just kind of makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable.
I don't need your fantasy women.
He's, been in the Federation for a really long time, and he should have his own command on his own ship, but he wants to, be second in command on the coolest ship in the galaxy rather than first in command on his own ship, which I kind of get. I think take the opportunities where they are, but at the same time, if you want to be with your friends and doing something really cool on the flagship, then that's your prerogative. So I gave him the beard because he really only doesn't have it in season 1, and his greased back hair as well. After that, I finally tackled Dr. Beverly Crusher. I really wanted to make her because of the color variation. The commanding officers wear red, the engineering people tend to wear yellow, and the doctors and medical staff wear blue. She's got that lab coat that I'm pretty proud of, and yes, as I said before, the front is a little different on this one. But it actually worked out better because then I was able to get this brick with one stud forward to attach the lab coat, so kind of worked out. After that, I built Lieutenant Commander Geordie LaForge, played by the amazing LeVar Burton, whom you may remember from Reading Rainbow.
Just take a look, it's in a book, it's Reading Rainbow. I can go anywhere.
Yeah. He is the chief engineering officer, he's a genius, and he's blind. But he has this crazy set of goggles that attaches to his brain that allows him to see in different spectrums. So he can't actually see visible light, but he can see electromagnetic, he can see thermal radiation, he can see like all sorts of crazy stuff that we can't see, but he can't ever quite see the beauty of a sunset or anything like that. I tried to give him a bit of a flat top like he has in the show, and I used the studs to sort of represent that natural black hair texture, similar to how they did the Finn Brickhead. Next, we have Lieutenant Commander Data, who is an android. He's a super advanced robot, and there's only one of a kind, or should I say, two of a kind, if you're familiar with the show. But he is the only android working in the Federation, and he faces a lot of prejudice because of that, but he is working on expressing human emotions. He's very, very smart, but a little bit awkward.
Mr. Data, are you all right?
Yes, sir. I am attempting to fill a silent moment with non-relevant conversation.
Small talk.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Data. And last but not least, we have Counselor Deanna Troi. She is the Dusty. She is the ship's psychologist, the ship's counselor. Oh, I ran out of the hand piece. Hold on. This is awkward. Sorry, Captain. There we go. She is half human, half something else that is like a psychic race, and she only has half of the psychic powers, so she can feel people's emotions. She can sort of tell if people are lying. As you can see, Counselor Troi is not wearing a Starfleet uniform. According to the actress who plays the character, this was a decision made by the producers.
And then they made me the purple suit. There are certain rules in Hollywood, unwritten rules, but one of the rules is, if you're doing an action show, you've got to have chicks on the show. And if the chicks have a cleavage, they cannot have a brain. So when I got a cleavage, all my grey matter went south, disappeared, absolutely. I just became decorative, like a potted palm on the bridge.
Eventually, she does get one of those medical uniforms, like Dr. Crusher back there.
So then I wore my spacesuit, and wouldn't you know, the grey matter comes flooding back.
I decided to make her in this because she's really in this for most of it, and because it kind of mixes up the color. So that's everybody. That's the main cast and crew of the Enterprise. Normally I would like to show you the process of building these things, but as I said before, I kind of got a little bit out of hand and did it all at once without really thinking about it.
Sorry.
So I am going to make another Brickhead and show you the process by which I built and designed these guys. So I'm going to use the parts from Gamora and use it to build another Star Trek Brickhead. So this is what I need. The Brickheads contain an insane number of these things. I think it's like 12 or something. Alright, I built the Brickhead of Gamora. Oh my god! Ha! Gamora! I knew I was small, but this is ridiculous! Don't say that! God! Oh! And now I'm going to take it apart. I just did my very first time lapse ever. Hopefully it wasn't too terrible. Alright. This is the essence of a Brickhead. A ton of these. And I should have 14 to make a normal Brickhead. I got 13. But I was able to find one in a different color. What's really great about this Build Your Own Brickhead guide is it both gives you the basic structure of any Brickhead, but they also show you a bunch of different ideas about how you might try to recreate different outfit types, hairstyles, and show you direct instructions on how to build a bunch of different things. So what we're going to make is not directly from here, but we will use it as a reference. And one thing that almost all Brickheads have is these two cylindrical blocks that kind of fill out the middle of the body and the brain, which I always thought was a very cute thing to do. They put a little brain in there. And you also should probably have 2 eyes, and most of them have 14 of these as well. Now we have to decide what we're going to make a Brickhead of. And I had a bunch of ideas about what I might be able to do, a Borg, Wesley Crusher, but I ultimately ended up settling on Guinan, who is the ship's bartender.
But that's not the issue at all, is it?
But she is also an extremely wise and very ancient alien portrayed by Whoopi Goldberg. Now, as with any LEGO build, it's helpful to start with a reference to see what you're trying to make. And you'll notice with Guinan, she wears a whole lot of different costumes throughout the series, made of many different colors. So let's start by pulling up some reference photos from which to choose what version of Guinan we are going to make. Now, a lot of this is going to hinge on the colors and pieces available, as well as comparing the color palette of Guinan's new outfit to the other colors that I have. I would like her to complement the other colors of the crew, but also stand out a little bit and make a color that we have not used very much of yet. I had this specific navy blue outfit color in mind. This is the photo that I used as my main reference for most of the rest of the crew, and I kind of hope that I'm able to do that one. So now I have put together a sort of vision board to use while I'm going through the pieces that I have to try to determine like which costume is the most realistic to build based on what I have available to me. So we're gonna have this open in the background as I look through my LEGO collection and try to determine what color and style Guinan is going to be. So it seems, based on our vision board, that we have a few options, mostly on this side of the color column. In the cooler color section, what we might be able to do is dark red or magenta, purple, maybe dark blue, blue, or light blue. Those seem like the options. And normally we would have a fair amount of freedom to choose which of these colors works the best, but we have a very serious piece limitation on this one, which is we need that very large circular hat that Guinan wears. And a piece that works well for that is not going to necessarily be available in every color. So as we look at pictures of Guinan, you can see that that hat really goes very far out from her head. And generally a Brickhead is sort of the head is the same width as the body. So her hat goes kind of out as much as her body, but it seems like to get that effect, we're gonna need it to go farther out than the head. So the head is based on a 4x4 stud frame, so we're going to need a hat that is larger than that. I would think at least 6 studs in diameter. So let's see what we can find. This is a 8 wide, 4 stud radius circle, and I think that's going to be the correct size. Any bigger than that is a little bit outrageous. Any smaller than that kind of looks silly. So for example, here is a 3 stud radius. That's too small. So we're gonna have to go with 4. So then the question is, do we do this dish piece or do we make it a little bit flatter by using plates? And I think that's gonna be the move. 4 stud radius plates. This is a really good starting point. I'm going to use this navy blue color because I have most of the parts and because I think it'll go well with the color palette. This is adding a little bit better lighting to give you an idea. That's the color dark blue. All right, so now that we've picked our color, we have to start the actual design process. And normally it's pretty straightforward. As you can see, it's just sort of a lot of regular bricks, but Guinan has flowing robes on. So we're gonna go for a little bit of a different stylistic technique that's probably gonna require a little bit more work and planning. So for example, if you take a look at what I did here for Dr. Crusher, she's got the lab coat on, which is pretty smooth. There's some sort of robe-like quality to that. So we're gonna be trying to get something along those lines, but maybe a little bit more stylistically interesting and flowing. At this point, it's just mostly going to be trial and error and experimentation to try to make this thing look like how I would like it to look. Let's get started. Alright, so to start, just kind of going for the flowing robes with this sort of asymmetrical pattern on the side. I think it looks okay, although it sticks out a little bit too much. I don't love that, so I might try to redo it maybe with just flat plates and see if that looks any better. It's kind of hanging off like this, and then it won't stick out quite so much. We'll see. I'm gonna try some other things. I won't do a time lapse for it, and we'll see what I come up with.
3 hours later.
All right. That's a lot better. Yep, using those flat pieces was definitely the move. Made it look a little bit more consistent. Doesn't sort of jut out as much as it did before. This is good. You get the flowing of the robes, but you also get that asymmetrical front pattern in the fabric. I like it. All right, so now that that's finished, gotta move on to the head. Basically, every brickhead head starts like this, with all of these studs on the side bricks and the brain in there. I have to decide where on the face is the cowl that she's wearing gonna go up to. So for example, on LaForge, you see the hair starts underneath the facial tile. The plate there is black, whereas with Commander Riker, I had the skin color underneath that plate as well, because I wanted to kind of give the minor receding hairline to him. So Guinan has this unique challenge as well, where she's wearing this hat, kind of the sides of it slope towards the edge in the image. This should still be a little bit overhanging. So I'm thinking then I'll probably go with the LaForge style with the blue tile underneath there. Let's see how that goes. Wow, that was super annoying. So as soon as I tried to put Guinan's face on, I realized that these pieces stick up just the tiniest bit above where the plate rests. You see that? It's like a 0.5 millimeter higher than that edge. And these used to be up a plate higher, so I couldn't get that thing on because the plate wouldn't stick on because these were sticking up into where the plate needed to be. So I just had to completely rebuild this thing and shift the studs on the side bricks that are under here down 1 plate. And instead of having a brick here, I put 2 plates so that I could fit. And I think it still looks pretty good. It's draping pretty much almost all the way down to the bottom now, but Guinan can still stand without the garment touching the ground. So I think it works, and I think it looks okay still. And now I can put the face on. So I'm gonna do that. All right, that's the face done. See what I mean? That just a little bit of that color behind the face so we can get this sort of sloped look later on the cowl. So now I have to decide how much face is going to be on the side. I think I'll probably do like what I did here with LaForge, so have like the chin and this side of the face, so there won't be glasses there. And then I'll have the cowl kind of go like that through that section. Let's try that. All right, so I may have gotten a little bit overly fancy here, but I put the chin on and I also added this 1 stud here I'm thinking what I can do for the edge of the cowl is kind of put it like that, so that it's that straight line instead of like a more terraced thing. If you had to do it like brick by brick, kind of put this on a diagonal like that. We'll see. All right, I think I have the perfect, well, not perfect, but I think I have the design I'm sticking with. We got these 3x1 curved pieces and the 2x1 curved pieces. You can see from the silhouette it goes like sort of right up to the top there. There's a bit of a gap, but I'm fine with it. Yeah, let's finish it up like that. Okay, almost finished. So I've noticed, probably should have noticed earlier, that Guinan's hair is coming out the back. So I'm going to have to figure that out. Now, all the Brickheads sort of have the standard ear, a 2x1 cheese slope right there, and the second to last stud from the back. A lot of pictures I've seen of Guinan have the bottom of her ear sticking out, so I'm just going to do one cheese slope here and here, but I still have to figure out what I'm going to do for the hair on these remaining studs. So let's see what I come up with.
Pretty good start, but I don't like that you can see the light from behind it going through those little squares in the bottom of the hair. So I'm going to keep working on it, but I'm almost done.
All right, she is about done. So I built these crazy constructions to fill it in, even involving a couple of tooth pieces. But I think in the end, it looks pretty good. The different angles give a little bit of texture to that hair, and the most important front silhouette is perfect now. So that's it. That's Guinan. And my goodness, did I make a mess. Look at this. This is just out of control. I'm gonna clean that up. All right, Guinan, welcome to the crew. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching this video. I'm thinking about submitting these to LEGO Ideas. If I do, I'll definitely put the link to that in the description, and I would love for you to vote. That's going to be it for me today, Max Brickman. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Have a great day, YouTube. Bye.